And good evening to our fellow listeners and followers. Today is Sunday, December 17th at 8:12 p.m. This is Federico Lyons of States Rights Radio and
Seth Hancock of Seth Hancock Reports. And tonight we're going to be doing a recap of 2023 and what our American Republic of Sovereign States can expect for 2024. Tonight's episode is going to be the last one of 2023 since we've got Christmas Eve coming up next week and then New Year's Eve the week following. So we wanted to kind of, have some predictions for next year and, just kind of take a look back at this year. Obviously, this has been a year of, we talk about the political circus a lot, and boy, was there a clown show this year. It's just from former presidents being indicted to, a current president not knowing where he is half the time. It's just kind of a interesting year in terms of politics.
Yeah, 2023 didn't really, give me a lot of insight. I know many people said, I don't know why. I guess to me, every year is always the same. It's the same thing over and over again. The president can do whatever he wants. Congress doesn't do anything to stop this executive branch. But one thing peculiar is that, this year's Black Friday was non-existent. Here in Florida, there wasn't that much of a debacle. What about in Illinois?
I don't even remember seeing much in terms of Black Friday sales, and you get some ads, but I guess it's hard to gauge for me because I've never really been one to do Black Friday shopping, but I guess I did buy some stuff online, but I don't think it was that big here either.
No, again, I know that inflation's really hitting hard, but yet again, that's because we've allowed this federal government really do whatever it wants, whenever it wants, and that's why we're having this issue of inflation. But yet again, seeing Biden do whatever he wants, and now Biden wants to propose a high-speed rail all across the country before Congress goes into recess. I don't know, I haven't heard of another government shutdown if they don't get their way. So, again, like every year, 2022, 2021, 2020, when they're, even before with Obama and, when there was a government shutdown, I said to myself, is that a good thing? Or, is that a bad thing? I think it's a good thing because it's, the less the government works, the better, because the less damage it does to this republic. So I don't know how much I can expect for 2024, except for maybe just the same with Biden. I don't know if Biden's going to run for re-election. It sure seems like it, but yet again, it's too early to tell. It's going to be the same thing over again. Now I see that Congress opened up an impeachment inquiry on Biden and Hunter Biden. And I know that, Congress is set to define the high crimes and misdemeanors of the president. So this, if they find something that they can define it on, that's fine. But yet again, it's a political partisan witch hunt. So I don't think I can expect anything new or old or the same for 2024. How about you, Seth?
Yeah, I think on the political side, it's the same old, same old. It'll be the same next year. I guess, like things like the impeachment. We've talked about this. Almost every president has done something that's impeachable. And that it should be, but the problem is that impeachment has become just a political tool and not actually a tool where we're trying to get justice for a president who's gone rogue or something like that. And so it's kind of like on the one hand, do I think Joe Biden should be impeached? Yeah, of course I do. But on the other hand, I think the Republicans are just doing this for political gain, and I don't like that either. But as far as predictions for next year, in terms of just the whole political atmosphere, like you said, it's always the same. It's the same circus. It might become even more of a clown show, but it'll be basically the same premise next year.
Yeah, and again, the way that they're conducting this impeachment inquiry on Hunter Biden, I think is kind of ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how much high crimes and misdemeanors with connection with his son. There's other more issues that are impeachable than that with Hunter Biden. The same thing with Trump. I mean, I know they impeached him on the insurrection thing, but that's something that I kind of agree with Dennis Kucinich when he tried to impeach Obama on the war with Libya and the Libya situation and Syria and also Syria. So those are impeachable offenses. Those I understand, but nowadays I don't. So like you said, it's going to be a circus. It's going to be a three-ring circus with Congress, Congress, Biden, the president, and the Supreme Court. Who knows what the Supreme Court will bring us with news rulings. I'm not too optimistic with this unpredictable Supreme Court. And with the 2024 elections coming up, I mean, who knows? I mean, Trump, I don't know if the GOP will really give Trump another nomination. I hope they're smarter than that. I hope they can look for somebody. I mean, again, I'm not too optimistic because, right now the line of candidates, I'm not in favor of voting. But, as the establishment goes, I think the closest one that it's closer to the establishment on both sides is Nikki Haley. So we'll see if, I don't think Chris Christie is going to get it or Vivek Ramaswamy or, I think Nikki Haley is too close to the establishment, and that would be my prediction to get the nomination and maybe the presidency. If, again, both parties have always been in line to get what they want since '93, so maybe they're working together to make Nikki Haley the first female president. I know both parties hated Hillary Clinton, that's why she never got it. But maybe Nikki Haley can work with both parties and they will get both parties. I will not vote for Nikki Haley or Joe Biden or whoever is the Democrat nominee. But that will be my prediction for president. And as far as Congress, I don't think GOP is that close in getting the Senate back. Maybe the House will still remain, but I don't think the Senate is any closer. How about you?
Yeah, in predictions on the election, I'll start with Congress. I just kind of just based off of the current Real Clear Politics polling. It looks like the Republicans will probably retain the House, maybe pick up a few seats, but it's not going to be a really big change either way. But Senate, it's kind of hard to gauge. I think that one will have to play out a little bit into next year to see what that looks like. On the presidential side, I think Donald Trump is going to be the nominee at this point for the Republicans and Joe Biden for the Democrats. Obviously, things can change. Both of them are very old, so there's a lot of things that can happen within the next year. But honestly, the primaries are starting not too long. I think Iowa is February. It's fairly early into next year. I just think it's kind of a shame because, we got the guy who locked us down and the guy who kept us locked down as the the presumptive nominees right now, according to the polls. But I kind of that this might, I think honestly, if the Republicans were smart, I think anybody, because Biden's not popular, I think any Republican can beat him. I think Trump has the least amount of chance of beating him, although I think he could beat him just because Biden's unpopular. But Trump's unpopular, and I personally, I don't like any of them. Nikki Haley's probably the one that scares me the most. I think there's not a war that she doesn't love. I kind of think Trump is going to be the nominee, and I think it'll be a close election, but I think Trump will beat Biden. That's and I don't want either of them in, but that's what I think. I kind of think that the deep state, if you will, the unelected bureaucracies, it doesn't matter Biden or Trump. They like both of them because both of them help them achieve their goals of more power and control over the rest of us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see, but yet again, if the establishment, which that's what, the Electoral College is, didn't give it to Trump in 2020, I don't know if I see it, if they want to give it to him in 2024. I just don't see it I just don't see it given to them in 2024 for Trump, another electoral win. So who knows? I mean, again, I'm not too favorable of Nikki Haley or Chris Christie. They're both. I mean, Chris Christie's not going to get it, but I'm not favorable of Nikki Haley. I think she's a neocon and she's very much establishment, but that's what they're going for. And who knows? Maybe that will be our first female president. It wasn't Hillary Clinton. It wasn't Geraldine Ferraro. It will be Nikki Haley. I don't know. That's my gut feeling. It's just too establishment, and I think the Electoral College will definitely go with somebody like that. As far as Congress, I still think both parties will retain their control in the Congress. I don't think either of them is going to get full working majorities, so I don't see it anyway. But again, this is where we live in nowadays, that we are too focused on federal elections and presidential elections, that we forgot the true meaning that the power rests in Congress, not in the executive branch. So I don't want to see an angry orange-haired loser or a senile-minded grandfather or even a neocon wannabe Margaret Thatcher. This is the new times we live in, where they've made celebrities out of these people, and it's very sad that they've done that. But people bought into this, and we're like paying for this now. So yeah, I don't see much of the same changing. The same thing. People said, "Oh, there's going to be a civil war, or there's going to be chaos." No, there's not going to be a civil war. The federal government will not allow another civil war. It's not going to be chaos. It's going to be, I don't think Trump's going to get indicted. I think Trump's going to probably get a slap in the wrist and just go home with a house arrest and all that. But I don't see any hopeful for 2024 if we're going to still keep relying on the federal government and the Federal Reserve controlling our interest rate, controlling that amount of currency, and just controlling that power. So again, people, it's your problem. You open this floodgates, folks. I hope that you get to change that. But if you don't want to see that type of change, to ignore these celebrities, then we're going to keep on doing the same old thing and over again.
Yeah, and you brought up the Trump indictments, and I've lost count on how many trials he's going through right now. But Yeah, I personally don't think he's going to get convicted on anything. Some of the people around him, I think, will. Rudy Giuliani might be one that takes the fall for him. I mean, Rudy Giuliani, people really knew him. He's not a guy to admire, but I kind of look at what's going on there. With all the indictments, I just think it's all show. It's all for show. And a big part of that is reason why I believe that is Trump's legal team has to be one of the worst I've ever seen. They must know something. I mean, time and time again, I never see them giving good legal advice to Donald Trump, and it's almost like they know he's not going to be convicted, so they can just be stupid. I mean, like one of the latest out of Colorado, Trump's legal team was arguing to keep him on the ballot in Colorado. They're going after him over the 14th Amendment, saying, insurrection. And Trump's legal team said, this is the argument, that, well, he never swore an oath to support the Constitution, therefore he didn't need to support the 14th Amendment. This is, what are you saying? You're not making an argument, a First Amendment argument, saying Donald Trump was using his free speech and he was not calling for insurrection. They're saying he never swore an oath to support the Constitution. This is stupid. And that tells me that I feel like things are scripted, because how do you make such? I mean, Donald Trump has plenty of money to hire a pretty solid legal team, and this is what we get. That's why I sometimes I feel like it's all scripted and it's a show, because it's so stupid.
Yeah, and his attorney just recently said that he's trying to convey to the Supreme Court the question that doesn't the president have immunity from for criminal convictions while in office? Yeah, during office, the president has immunity, but not after he leaves office, and they can still find any charges on him, regardless of, not during office, but after and before he enters the White House and leaves the White House. The president is under scrutiny for investigation and legal and for legal reasons to be taken to court, as they said it in Clinton versus Jones. So it's an amateur theatrics to play to the crowd, like, they're trying to do a witch hunt. Not really. The Supreme Court has basically said that the president has no immunity before he enters and after he leaves. So he is still entitled to go through the judicial process if there's a crime there. Not during he was president, but it's an amateur theatrics for everybody, and for the left and the right to get wild up. And then you saw Turning Point USA with Charlie Kirk and those little loons. They're trying to they're trying to wield enough power against the left and love Trump and all that, but. It's all, like you said, three-ring circus, a dog and pony show, where it's really it's just annoying. It's just really annoying, and I don't see anything that comes out of it that will do good or not. I mean, even when Trump was in the White House, he kept saying lock her up, but we never saw one DOJ investigation Hillary Clinton. So. Again, it's all a dog and pony show from both sides. They're not really going to do anything. The one that's, gonna really have a lot of heart, have a lot of loss on the American people, because they keep buying to it and they keep suffering to it. And they keep installing this fear. And it's really ridiculous. Now, I saw something on the news that there's like a giant ball of the sun that's willing to pass through the earth, not even hit the earth. Oh, well, that's the first news that says it's going to hit the earth, but no, it was going to pass through. The media and the government loves to install fear. So fear from these nature things, fear from political uprisings. Enough with the fear. we're not stupid. We know what's going on here, and this is what we're doing. The same thing over again. It's happening in 2023. It's going to happen in 2024. They're going to instill fear for whatever stupid reason. So yeah, I really see no difference after this new year.
Yeah, and I guess that as you bring up fear, that's another thing we can discuss on because I recently wrote a few pieces about this new fear of another Chinese virus. These, I guess, it's called the white lung syndrome or something like that. And the fear is being pushed by 5 Republican senators. Telling Joe Biden he's got to do something. He's got to act swiftly on this. And the question I have is, will the COVID-style lockdowns return? I mean, it's something that I think the powers that be want to keep us locked down perpetually, so they're going to try. The question I have is, will the people resist this time? I really don't know, but I think there's going to be renewed campaigns in 2024 over new, likely made up viruses. They're just new fear that they're going to push on viruses and quote unquote pandemics. I think that we might have more attempts to lock us down, make us wear face masks, things like that. And where I don't know is whether or not the people are ready to resist this time, or if they will follow the orders like they did in 2020. That's where I'm kind of up in the air. But I think that we will see more attempts at lockdown, and I hope that the people will not allow it to happen this time.
No, I surely hope not. I know that they are trying to instill fear on new epidemics going on, and I've seen something that people are saying some COVID numbers are coming back out of China or stuff like that. But I mean, enough is enough already. I mean, enough with the fear. I mean, when will such a government really stop installing fear on the American people and on the world? So, yeah, I mean, if they continue doing this, then I see that we are really not going to progress as a nation and just keep doing what we're doing and, saying Biden sucks, Trump sucks, Biden's great, Trump's great, or whoever. And, this is why, this two-party system really sucks. And there's not a lot of choices because the two-party system won't allow it. I know I've said this several times during the year that, Mexico had the perfect dictatorship of a one-party rule. Well, here we have a perfect dictatorship of a two-party rule. And it's really sad that, we are just, once you look at it, this two-party rule is not that much different. It's one and the same. It doesn't matter. And people need to see that. So, again, my prediction for this is more the same, nothing new. And I'm just going to keep chugging along, pay my dues, pay my work, have my taxes taken out of my paycheck as always until we repeal that 16th Amendment, which I hardly think will do it. And tax cuts or that type of reform's not going to help 1 inch. Politicians will be politicians. And, I mean, and then come 2024, I guess I will be abstaining and I will stay home. And while America votes for a new sucker in the White House, I'll be at home just watching some old reruns of Frasier or Monk or whatever, just chilling. How about you, Seth?
Yeah, that's about all you can do is try and the best you can try to ignore the circus. You got to kind of know what's going on. You do need to kind of keep up with the news, but you need to be able to understand you can't trust the media, but you need to be able to listen to them so that you can know what's going on. But yeah, just like you brought up just the taxes and stuff. That's a good segue into the economy. And but I did want to mention, like you said, with the two-party dictatorship that we have. You know, I kind of look at it as we do have a one-party dictatorship, and it's the unelected bureaucracy. It's all the unconstitutional agencies that actually run the show, and they have the Democrats and Republicans playing this little sideshow, making Americans think they have a choice when actually the people behind the scenes, the ones who are unelected, are the ones controlling everything. So you know, it's and both parties are captured and controlled by the unelected bureaucracies. But yeah, and on the economy, you know, I think 2024 is going to be a hard year. I mean, we've been through fairly hard years the last few years, in part because of the COVID lockdowns. But, you know, these kind of economic fissures, we actually have seen, we saw them prior to COVID as well. And that's one of the things that kind of irritates me with, you know, I know some people who were Trump supporters who kind of left the Trump train because of COVID, but they still think that the economy was great prior to COVID, and like folks, we have a house of cards economy that's built on easy money. It's illusionary. We don't have any real growth. It's all built on the Federal Reserve printing more money, which is the drug to keep things going. And I think at some point the drug is not going to work. So in 2024, we're already seeing the Federal Reserve is suggesting they're going to start cutting interest rates in 2024, which is going to not help the inflation side of things. And you know, we've got all these BRICS nations that are trying to threaten the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency, and I think that might be successful in 2024. I think the dollar might lose that world reserve currency status next year, which, if that happens, we can expect some really high inflation. A lot of people think the last few years we've had high inflation, and yeah, it was higher than before, but it was manageable. I mean, let's be honest. You know, prices went up, but they didn't explode. We haven't reached that Weimar Republic level yet, but we certainly can get there. And this is kind of what people should expect when you let a Federal Reserve, when you let fallen people control the money. I mean, we don't have a gold standard. The gold standard allows currencies to naturally be dictated. It lets the interest rates be naturally produced, rather than the Federal Reserve playing games with our money and playing games with the interest rate. And I think 2024 is going to be a rough year economically.
Yeah, it will be a rough year economically. I mean, you know, we've had a recession since 2001 and have not really been able to get out of that recession since 2001, with the Bush years, the Obama years, the Trump years, and now the Biden years. So recession will still go on, and you know, Federal Reserve, you know, and they'll come up with some lies saying, oh, we need this, we need that, so we'll print more money, and then inflation will go up again, and prices will go up again, and people will buy for this because they're giving away free money, they're sending out their COVID relief checks or their relief checks, and people want that. People want money coming to their pockets, even though it's hurting them in the long run. So, you know, because they want to keep people indoctrinated and ignorant and dumb. And it's a shame that the government wants to do that. But that's the power of the central government. And it's not just Biden. It's Trump. It's Obama. It's George W. Bush, and so on and so on. They throw in money just to buy those votes and keep them quiet. So, yeah, so, I mean, I think we'll continue with this recession. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away with Trump, because Trump's going to come in and he's going to increase spending on his border wall and other stuff. And if Trump gets in, or Nikki Haley gets in with new wars to Syria and Hamas and Lebanon, and invade Lebanon and Syria and Egypt. So, you know, it's really not going to end there, and we're going to continue with this recession until God knows when, until one of the parties really looks and says, "Hey, we can't continue here." And but yet again, you know, you had people like Jim Webb of Virginia, that he was actually a pretty conservative, and he got out because he couldn't take anymore. And then now Manchin says he's not running again for the Senate. So there goes a very conservative senator from West Virginia. And a few other people from, I mean, Republicans are not really that conservative anymore, so I don't know who really cares staying or going. But, you know, as far as conservative Democrats, like blue dog Democrats, there's hardly any more. So it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be more of the same recession, the same thing. So that's my prediction. It's going to be the same, and then come 2024 election, we will see who the new nominee is from both parties, and we'll see if Biden will pull an LBJ and say he will not run for re-election. We'll see if Trump will get it, or Nikki Haley. That's my prediction. Seth's prediction is Trump. So yeah, that's my final thought is expect more of the same. Nothing's going to change. There's no hope and change anymore. There's no nothing. So people, I hate to be so pessimistic, but expect more of the same. Seth, what's your last thought?
Yeah, I would agree that, expect more of the same. I think on the war front, I think we'll see more attempts to expand what's going on in, Israel and Palestine right now. I'm kind of not sure what's going to happen with Ukraine, because I think part of me thinks that they're going to have to abandon Ukraine, because people are kind of waking up to what a stupid thing that was, and how corrupt Ukraine is. I mean, they sold it just because we're supposed to hate Putin, and yeah, Putin's not a good guy, but it's not our fight. That's been my position from the beginning of all of these foreign conflicts is, well, it's not our fight, so we should just shut up and, work on fixing what's wrong here. But part of me thinks that they've invested so much in Ukraine that they have to find a way to continue supporting that war. I think all of our constitutional rights are always up on the chopping block at all times by our government. I don't think they care about our constitutional rights whatsoever. But I think they specifically target some constitutional rights more than others at certain times. Obviously, when there's a mass shooting, that's when the Second Amendment's in their sights. But I think the First Amendment is going to be the one that's going to get the focus in 2024, as we see all these attempts by both Democrats and Republicans right now with, all of this calls for, they're changing the definition of anti-Semitism to include any criticism of Israel, which is not anti-Semitic. You're allowed to criticize Israel and Netanyahu, but our government's going to target the First Amendment the most, I think, in 2024. But that won't stop them from targeting all our other rights as well, which is what they always do. So, and like you, I'm pessimistic, but at the same time, I think that I'm optimistic that if if people kind of break loose from the political games and they start focusing on correcting the problems in their own lives, you can weather through the storm that the government's creating for us. And so we can still have that optimism that if we do our own things, like, I mean, with the economy, buy gold and silver, be prepared for the economic collapse, have some stored food and have some stuff like that. You can weather through it and also maybe even profit off of it if you do things right. So I'm pessimistic about what the government's doing, but I'm optimistic that if people prepare, that they can weather through the storm and be better on the other side of the storm. So that just requires people knowing what's going on and just kind of focusing on their own lives and not getting too caught up in the political circus. I mean, know what's going on in the political circus, but don't invest too much time in it.
Yeah, and one last thought. You brought up the First Amendment. Yeah, I think of all the rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution, the First Amendment is right now a little more in jeopardy. I hope not. I hope the Supreme Court doesn't do that to the First Amendment. Again, it's a very unpredictable court, but that really does scare me more that, the First Amendment will lose that right to freedom of speech and all that. I hope it doesn't come to that effect. I hope that, I don't like the whole prepper business, to be prepared for the worst. I hope not. I just don't see it that way because, the United States is too much of a powerful nation to be bamboozled by Putin or whoever. The United States, regardless if it's a senile grandfather or a narcissistic person, the United States will still be the United States. I don't think there's any danger for that. But again, I am just pessimistic that people are not going to see that. People are going to continue voting for whoever so they can get their check. And so I'm not optimistic that people will ever see that, will ever see that change, to make something out of it, to be prepared for that, because they'll just wait for their government check to come in the mailbox and all that. So, but that being said, well, let's see what this year brings us, and let's hope all for the best. I really hope so. Not clinging to it, but we'll see. But Seth, may you and your family have a blessed Christmas, and all you out there, blessed Christmas and Happy New Year too.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
And we'll see you all next year in 2024, God willing, and we'll see how this entails for all. So have yourself a great night and a Merry Christmas.
Good night.